everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to Board Game Breakfast. We're glad you're with us today for our variety show about board games and the people who play them. This episode happens to be sponsored by Pandasaurus, and that's a good thing for you because today they want to talk about their new game, Control, a 3D game. We're actually going to be playing this game this week, so on Wednesday you'll have a chance to see this game being played, but a three-dimensional style game. And the reason I'm talking about this, to tell you about it, but also you can win a copy of this. Just email us at contest@dicetower.com and put in the subject line 3D, just the letters 3 and the number 3 and the letter D. 3D, and then your address and the description. This is for folks in North America, and we have 3 copies that we'll give out, and we'll put the winners up on our website and let you know. So check that out. Like I said, we'll be playing that live this coming Wednesday. Well, what a world we live in. This is a different year than we ever expected, but I'll tell you what, board games are in full bloom. There's lots of cool board games and things to look forward to. If you missed it last week, I went over Pandemic Legacy Season 0, and you'll see a full review from that, not this week, but the following week from all of us. We've just finished playing through the campaign, and we'll have more to talk about on that regard later on. But there's other stuff coming up this week. I'm excited, but let's get started right now. Now, if you're like me at all, you like to rank games. Okay, not everyone likes to rank games the way I do, top 10 lists, top 100 lists. But in this particular case, there's a website that I like a lot called Flickchart, and I've talked about this in the past. Well, I found this is about ranking movies, where there's a similar site called Pub Meeple for board games. And so this site, and we'll put a link in the description below, is where you can import your Board Game Geek collection or just put in any number of games you want. In fact, you can rank things that are not board games. You can rank drinks and beverages and all kinds of things. But I'm speaking specifically about board games. What you do is you input some board games, and then it shows you 2 board games. You say which one you like better, and you just keep doing that over and over and over again, and it slowly puts them in order so you can make your own top 100 or top 10 or whatever you might want. I find this sort of thing to be pretty useful. Yes, it can be time consuming because you can sit there and just click, but it does help you put things in order. And so if you're trying to make that sort of list, this is a really good tool for that. Now, I found that it sometimes hangs up if you have a huge collection of board games on Board Game Geek to pull those in. But again, like I said, you can also import your own variable settings, like all the board games that you played, and put them in that way. So just thought this was something neat to look at. This is at Pub Meeple. Let's keep moving.
Hello, my name's Dan. This is Cora, and we're here to continue our designer diary for
Cora Quest.
That's it, Cora Quest! Our dungeon crawler that we were making ourselves. Now, the first thing we had to do when we were deciding about the game is ask ourselves, we knew what kind of genre it was going to be, a dungeon crawler, kind of zombie-sidey, descent-y, that kind of thing. We wanted to ask ourselves some questions about what kind of game it would be. So the first question we asked ourselves was, is it going to be competitive or is it going to be cooperative? And what did we decide on, Cora?
Cooperative.
Cooperative, because we like cooperative games and we wanted to play a game together and fight the baddies. The other question we wanted to ask is, who are we going to be? Now, how did we decide that?
We knew we couldn't really make our own models or anything.
No, that's a bit beyond us.
But, so we just borrowed the games from the Lord of the Rings and Zombicide and some other...
Mythic Battles Pantheon. So we got all my fantasy-type board games out, didn't we? And we laid all the heroes from it out in a row. And you went through it, didn't you?
And we decided mostly together what heroes and baddies we were going to have.
Yep, but we got people like Sword Lady, and Spear Lady.
I couldn't think of names. I'm not good at thinking of names.
We got Crossbow Dude. Who else have we got? Have we forgotten anybody? The Dwarf. Never forget the Dwarf.
His dad's favourite.
My favourite. So that's what we decided we were going to be, and then we decided we were going to have some orcs and some goblins
and some archer goblins
and a big snake, didn't we?
A big snake boss.
A big snake ender-level boss, because you were very keen on having an ender-level boss, weren't you? So we decided who...
I mean, how else are you going to... We were trying to think of how we're going to end the game, and it's like just killing a boss.
Killing a boss. Why wouldn't you? We also wanted to know how the dungeon's going to work, whether it's going to be all laid out in advance.
And then you just move around. And then, if we were going to... So, like, every time you walk through a door, the new room appears, and there could be some baddies in there.
Yeah.
And that's what we decided.
We went with that because we thought it was more exciting, didn't we? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we also needed to kind of know what kind of actions we could do. We decided, we've been borrowing off zombie-side mechanics, haven't we? Mostly. Yeah, it's all right, We're standing on the shoulders of giants. So the actions we decided we could do are move, fight, search, and do special powers. And in our
we haven't actually played with the special powers yet.
No.
When we test played before, we hadn't got that far yet.
No, that's right. But in next video, we're going to talk about a bit more about the mechanics we decided to go with for our first test play.
Yeah.
Hi everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
Alright, well today we're going to be talking about Bye Bye Mr. Fox. This is a kids game from Blue Orange. They've just been knocking it out of the park lately with these kids games, and this is no exception. Alright, so in this game what you're doing is you are going to be spinning this dial, trying to deliver eggs to these various colored chickens on the board. Oh, but guess what? There's a bad guy. The fox himself. He's there trying to steal all the eggs from the chickens.
Okay, so eggs are awesome, right? Am I right? Eggs are awesome.
Speak for yourself.
One of the things that I do is at the beginning of the week, I like to torture Ryan and just make a whole bunch of hard-boiled eggs that I can then take to lunch for the rest of the week. And it works great. I don't have to think about it, and I know that I'm getting something I like that's nutritious. So if your dietary preferences line up with that, I'd maybe try just torturing your entire household and boiling some eggs at the beginning of the week.
Alright, so Bye Bye Mr. Fox. This is a great game for kids. It says 5+ on the box. We've been playing it with our 3-year-old. Let's see what she has to say about it.
It's a good game, and we love it because we really love it.
Yeah, we do love it. It's a great family game to play.
Yes, and Quentin to play it, and Bethany to play it, and me.
Mm-hmm. Are you good at it?
Yes, but I really love it.
Yeah, I love it too. Do you think the other 3-year-olds are going to love it?
Yes, but I really love it.
I know you do. You ask for it basically every day. We play it every day.
Yeah, and Sissy.
And
You
you're
too.
Yeah. All right, want to say bye to everybody?
Bye-bye.
Bye. It's so neat how the box is the game. So you get ready to play and it just sits right in there. It's not taking up any space, just the whole game plays in that box. And I think that's really neat.
Yeah, this is a game that we've been playing a lot with our 3-year-old, almost nightly lately. She's been having fun with it. I've been able to play it without, getting sick of it. Some kids games you play and you're just like, when are you going to be done with this game?
Kind of like when I make eggs.
Exactly. But this game is so short and it is so fun. And there is some slight decisions in there that make it so that it's a little bit more palatable than some of the other kids games that we've experienced.
But if you'd like to hear more from Ryan and I, you can always find us on Facebook or YouTube. You can find us under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Well, everybody, we hope you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
I'm not usually someone who believes in the as seen on TV things because most of the time they're not accurate. And if always, they do exaggerate to some degree, even on the things that I like. I live in Florida. We have bugs in Florida. There are cockroaches, which fortunately are not a problem where I live, really. There are mosquitoes, which not much you can do about those. And then there are something I find almost more annoying than mosquitoes, and that's flies. And we have fly swatters in our house. We're prepared. But whenever I grill or whatever, the flies show up. So when I saw the commercial for the salt gun, I was amused by it, but didn't think much about it. But the more and more I kept seeing it, this is one of those times advertising worked. So I ended up getting one of these salt guns. So if you don't know what this is, here you put table salt. That's it. The gun shoots table salt. You cock it forward and backwards. You turn the safety off. You point it at a fly, and boom. And I just shot salt here in the studio. But the thing about that part is it's not that big of a deal. A little bit of salt, no big deal. It says on here, do not shoot in face or eyes. No kidding. All right, but what does it do to flies? So flies, they land in different spots. Sometimes, they'll land here in this corner of this box. I can't really hit that with a fly swatter, but I can get it with the gun. Well, let's be honest. The whole reason you have the gun is because it's kind of fun to hunt down flies. You feel like a hunter. So I've been messing with this for the past week. And I will say that it definitely does kill a fly. If you hit it from the right angle, it will just, it's like the fly getting hit with a pile of shotgun pellets. It just, it's kind of gross. A lot of times, though, it just wings the fly and knocks it down to the floor. Sometimes it makes the fly unconscious. The fly comes back, but much slower. Shot number 2 will take care of that. Now, the thing I was kind of hoping for was getting the flies in midair. I had this, fantasy of blowing it out of the air. But the problem with that is I don't want to accidentally shoot other people or other things. And also I found when we sat down and the fly landed in the middle of the food, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to be shooting it here. Even if I don't mind salt on my food, I do mind splattered fly all over the food. So yes, I wait till it lands somewhere else on the wall or what have you and take care of them there. It works pretty well. I would say we're up to 10 flies that are dead by the hands of this gun at this point in time. I've tested it on a few other insects. I haven't tried it on spiders yet. I'm kind of afraid. I just feel like one day spiders are going to gang up and get me. But is this better than a fly swatter? I don't know. It's more fun than a fly swatter, right? It's silly. I'm not worried about my young son being able to get into this because you have to cock this, which takes a bit of strength, and turn the safety off to shoot it, and I don't put it anywhere near him. And at the end of the day, I don't feel like I shot it on my hand to see what it felt like. It stung slightly, but it wasn't that big of a deal, so I didn't think it was super dangerous to have around the house. Less dangerous than a BB gun, per se. Or if you do what I just did and let all the salt fall over the table. I didn't close this properly. But the good news is that it's cheap and easy to run. They make a pouch for it and a laser sight, and at that point you're like, come on now. What are you doing? That's going a little too far. And I know some of you watching are like, Tom, you went too far when you got the gun. It's entertaining. I also don't feel too bad about it because flies, it says on the packaging, no one gets upset when you kill a fly. I'm sure someone out there is upset that I'm killing flies. I'm not even sorry, taking flies out. Flies are nasty. They spread disease. I feel completely satisfied taking them out. So if you have some extra money, this is a fun thing to do. I know it makes me look silly as I run around the house hunting down flies, but it just gave me this thrill and this entertainment. I'm not hurting anything other than a fly and just silliness. So that's my review of the salt gun.
Hey everyone, Kim here from Tabletop Rebellion, and I'm here to introduce you to a new segment called Name the Game, where I'm going to show you a bit from a board game, and you're going to try to guess what game it's from. So since this is our first week, I'm going to give you just a few seconds to name the game at home, so shout out those answers, I'm listening. Here is your clue, and go. That's not it. Ooh, that's a good game, maybe we'll do that another time. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop your guesses. So those of you who guessed Castles of Burgundy, you're right. You can have some chocolate chips in your pancakes this morning. Castles of Burgundy. I have loved this game since the first time I've ever played it. And yes, you're right, it's not the prettiest game that you're ever going to play. Even the Anniversary Edition could not right all of those wrongs. But let's be honest. Stefan Feld has some outstanding titles out there to choose from, but this game just checks all the boxes for me. I roll my dice, I cross my fingers that I roll the numbers that I need, and if not, I hope I have enough workers so that I can manipulate my die to get the cow tile before my opponent does. Did I mention how much I love tile placement games? I love the challenge of trying to fill my player board, and this game certainly has a lot of replayability because there are 9 different player board layouts. And someday, board number 2, I'm going to beat you. Now, a lot of this game is played between yourself and the dice. Your opponent will always take a tile that you need, so it does create some frustrating fun around the table. This one really sings at 2 players. Does fine with 3, but can get a little bogged down with 4. So if you haven't tried Castles of Burgundy, I hope this encourages you to give it a go. Let us know in the comments what you think, and on that note, here's the clue for next time. Do you know what game this piece is from? Happy breakfast!
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jonna from the Pip Wonder, and today I have a very interesting segment to bring to you. A couple years ago, when I first started submitting videos to the Dice Tower, I was on the Token Punch lunch with our old buddy Sam Healy. Today I want to talk about some game themes that I would love to see. One of them was for Monarch Butterflies. This game could be called Monarch. They have 4 generations that are born out within 1 year, and the 4th generation travels from Canada to Mexico, and the last generation would have to have all the resources it needs to make that trek from Canada to Mexico. I don't know. So there's a game there. And guess what? Mariposas is that game. This game is my game. Is the game I wanted 2 years ago. Can you believe that? I must have the gift, you know? Like Elizabeth Hosgrave, she saw that video and said, you know, Jonna Minato's right.
Many years later, I read a book about it, and sort of at that point I was already designing games, and my brain just started going. I'm like, you could totally tell the story of the migration of the monarch butterflies on a map in a game.
No. I definitely had something to do with this. I am so excited about this game. I am pre-ordering it and I can't wait to play it. This is my wish list game. I am going to remake my board game wish list. I'm going to update it with some new ideas and see what will happen in the future. Maybe some more of my board game ideas will come true. How exciting would that be? My first one I want to share with you is called Stay on the Line. It's a push your luck game about being on hold with your customer service agent. The longer you stay on the phone, the higher the stakes get that you're going to lose. Lose your cool. Hey, if you'd like to check out some more of my videos, board game reviews, top 10s, funny, silly, talking boxes, go ahead and check out my channel, Pip Wonder. Thanks a lot for watching the Board Game Breakfast, and I'll see you next time.
So what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well, I'll be taking a look at Munchkin Dungeon. This is from Kaufman. Like I said, we'll be playing Control. And there's a whole pile of other games I'm going to review. Probably the biggest ones. We'll be taking a look at the new Stonemaier game, Pendulum. And also Imperial Struggle, which is the sequel and follow-up to Twilight Struggle. And then piles of what we might call smaller games, but there's a lot of great little games out there, folks. And so I know everyone likes to watch the big reviews of the big name stuff, but look throughout the week. And if you say, well, that's just too many reviews, happily every week as a companion piece to Board Game Breakfast, we put out Week in Review, which is a short summary of all the reviews we did the last week. And then you can just watch those short summaries, and then we have links in that video to all the things that we've done. So that stuff's coming out this week. We have a podcast going to be put out on the channel. Mandy, Suzanne, and I joined them for a podcast from the Dice Tower Network, and many, many other things going out this week. I got reviews scheduled all throughout the week and live plays. We're going to try to continue to do a live play every week if we possibly can at this point in time. And of course, every night we have our daily chats at 9 p.m. So come by and say hi to us there. We'll see you there.
Hey everyone, good morning, and I hope you had a fantastic weekend. So I've got kind of interesting, cool, fun for me news. I'm moving. We've been on the East Coast for the past 3 to 4 years, and now we're actually going to Seattle. So I'm super stoked. I love new places and exploring, so I'm really excited for the move. With that, I'm getting to pack, which I have moved a lot of times in my life. I actually really like packing, so it's a double thing. I get to pack and I get to move, so there's a lot of cool, exciting things going on really quickly. That got me thinking, I like games that sort of have that packing element as well. Games where spatial reasoning and tile laying kind of mimic packing, or what we used to call loot Tetris when I played games like Diablo, trying to get things the most efficiently for the most points. So today I'm going to tell you about 3 that are my favorites. So first up is Shipshape from Calliope Games. My friend Ruel hooked me up on this one, and in it, you are pirates trying to make the most efficient ship. You can collect booty, you can get cannons for your ship. But the interesting thing is they're on these little pieces that you sort of can see through. There are only certain squares in the piece that are available. When you stack them, different combinations of things show up when you look from above. So it's got not only that spatial element going on, but it's a totally different angle. Instead of laying things flat, you're stacking them up and looking down. And I think that's really cool. Next up is Patchwork Doodle, which is another kind of roll and writey game that takes infinite players. So I've been playing a lot of that online. In this one, you get different shapes and you start with a grid. You're trying to fill in that grid the most efficiently that you can. The shapes are changing every single game, so you don't know what you're going to get and you're just really hoping you can fill everything in by the end. I also recommend grab some colored pencils for that one and you'll kind of wind up with a little work of art by the end. And finally, there's Squire for Hire, which almost exactly mimics that loot Tetris that I was talking about. You know, when you're playing a game and you're trying to fit everything in your bag so you don't have to go back to town and then come back and start over again. In this one, you're putting cards together and trying to get the most efficient pack for your little traveling buddy to carry everything for you. Also, the art in this one is really super cute, especially if you like animals, so I would absolutely check that one out. If you like packing, if you like loot Tetris, or you like tile laying and efficiency, I highly recommend all three of those games. Check us out on Girls Game Shelf. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Howdy folks, welcome to By the Numbers. My name is Hunter Thomason from the Family Showdown. This episode of By the Numbers, we're continuing my Through the Years series, where we look at the best game on Board Game Geek by year, starting in 1970, this week, 1997. Taking a look at the top 5 from 1997, we see the number 1 game is Tigris and Euphrates, coming in at number 84. Tigris and Euphrates is the number 1 ranked game on Board Game Geek by the infamous Reiner Knizia, his only game that makes the top 100. Tigris and Euphrates is a tile placement area control game, which has a very interesting mechanism. You score in 4 different categories. I'm not going to say what the 4 categories are, but 4 categories, and they take the lowest score of those 4 categories as your final score. This mechanism is used more and more, I notice, in games these days. Take a look at the ratings, almost 25,000 of them. We see mostly 8s and lots of 9s and 7s for an overall rating of 7.7. Take a look at the weight. We see it comes in at a 3.51. Pretty heavy. I kind of looked at the rules of this game. It didn't look that complicated, so maybe it's in the decision making. Tigris and Euphrates is probably my most almost bought game. I've put it in carts and almost put buy on this game more than probably any game ever. And you know why? Because rumors have it, and you know rumors have some truth to them usually. Rumors have it that 2-player version of this game is not so good. So, if you've played this game 2 players, let me know what you think. Make me push that buy button. See you next time.
Hi everyone, it's me, Clara, and my microphone, which loads of people seem to like on my first video, so I thought it was kind of cool and retro-y. And I'm going to talk about another board game which I haven't played, but on paper I should really enjoy. And today I'm going to talk about a deck builder. Okay, it turns out I didn't know that I liked deck building games. No, I haven't played Dominion. Turns out that in 9 years of modern board gaming, I just not got around to playing any deck builders. I keep on buying dungeon crawls. I bought Star Realms about 4 years ago, but then I took it to a board game group, someone lost half the starting cards, and for some reason I never got around to playing it. Weird that, huh? Anyway, so yeah, I just hadn't played any deck builders. But as lockdown came in, my best gaming buddy was like, let's play Dominion. So we started playing loads and loads of Dominion, and then I started playing loads and loads of Ascension as well. And it turns out I really love deck building games. I just didn't know. So I'm going to talk about Clank, and specifically the Legacy version. So when I saw the reviews of Clank, I'm like, deck builder, who cares? But then you add the Legacy aspect, and I really enjoy Legacy. Legacy games, I love those pandemics. I'm loving my Risk. And then you add on the IP of Acquisitions Incorporated, like cool Dungeons and Dragons IP. I love their shows. So all of a sudden, it turns out that I love deck builders. Acquisitions Incorporated, And a legacy game seems like a no-brainer. I can't wait to buy it. I mean, I can't afford to buy it just yet, but I can't wait to buy it once I can afford to buy it. And I can't wait to play it with my friends. Not that I can play it with my friends right now, but once I can play it with my friends, I can't wait to play it. And I think I'll really enjoy it. What do you think? Do you think I'll love it? So let's Clank Acquisitions Incorporated. Let me know if I'm going to enjoy it down in the comments below. And I'll see you, so we're on my microphone next time on the Dice Tower. Bye-bye.
What's in a ranking? You know, most people when they rate movies, there's like a lot of, like one of my favorite review sites for movies uses a 5-star rating. Sometimes people want their ratings to be as simple as thumbs up, thumbs down. That's too little nuance for me, right? Because you can say thumbs up, I could say good, 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 thumbs down. And you're like, well, are these all the same? And so a rating scale to me is pretty handy to have. Now, even websites that have the 5-star rating, it's really a 10-star rating, right? Because they have 5 stars, 4.5 stars, 4 stars, 3.5 stars, etc. And so that's a 10-star rating. And then, of course, people with a 10 rating, you know, like on Board Game Geek, you can rate things from 1 to 10. You can rate them 9.5, 7.5, and you can even go farther down than that, 7.21. I used to read a PC Gamer for computer games, and they would rank a percentage out of 100. And you'd be like, well, this one's 76%, but this one's 78%. And so it's really tough when it comes to rating scales. Board Game Geek has a suggested rating scale, which you can't really do because, you know, their 10 says this game is, you know, amazing. I'll never turn down a play of it. Well, I don't care how good a game is. There's no game on earth that I wouldn't turn down a play of due to circumstances. But some people take that literally. I know some people, Sam Healy, who used to be on a Dice Tower, didn't rate any game a 10 because he just, to me that's just, if you don't rate any game a 10, then there is no 10 on the scale. Then your 9 is a 10. So there's a couple problems with rating scales in that regard, is if you have a rating scale like on Board Game Geek, if everyone uses it differently, it doesn't work. I know some people on Board Game Geek who rated everything a 10 or a 1. Worthless to me. That doesn't help me at all. But there are other people who their 6 is my 7. And some people their 5 is my 8. It's just, you know, it's kind of weird in that regard. So I have to kind of put all that aside. And when someone rates something, a rating isn't good enough by itself. Someone says, what do you rate a game? 7. Oh, okay, cool. That doesn't mean anything. And in fact, for a long time on the Dice Tower, I resisted putting ratings on the different reviews. We still don't put the rating on the review. We have it in our weekend review slot at the end of the week. But I resisted putting them on there because I thought people put too much emphasis on a number. And I don't want you to put emphasis on a number because I want you to put emphasis on what the person is saying. This is a kid's game that I think is fantastic, and I say it's a 6. That doesn't mean it's bad. It's okay for me, but it's fantastic for kids, and I can say that in the review. The number is just kind of a summation of that. Now, to that end, I also don't like getting rid of numbers. I just think that a combination of the number rating and the comment you make about it, putting those together, is what makes it useful to a person. Then there's arguments over what the rating is. For me, a 1 to 10 scale is really handy. But at the end of the day, I don't really use a 1 to 10 scale. I have a 15-point scale. 10, 9.5, 9, 8.5, 8, 7.5, 7, 6.56, 5.55, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the reason for that, maybe that's a 14-point scale or 16-point scale, but the reason for that is because at the end of the day, when a game is really bad, it's kind of, I'm like, this is a 3, well, this is a 2. Well, how can you tell? On the other hand, when games are fantastic, I can tell you that 10 is like the top, the pinnacle of amazement for me. 9 games are, oh, wow, they are fantastic. 8 games are really good. 7 games are good. I like playing them. 6 games are, they're okay. I don't hate them, but you know, they're okay. 5 games, oh man, not that great. 4 games, bleh. 3 games, bleh. 2 games, bleh. And 1 games, I can't even do that on air. That's not very scientific, but it helps me out. And someone says, yeah, but you should have your rating scale more skewed. And I would say nay to that. And why? Because, again, people read into numbers. So if I am giving you the fact that this game here, for example, is a 6, and I say a 6 is a good game, but not a fantastic game, you say, no, that should be a 5 where you put that. I can't do that. Why? Because when someone sees a 5, they assume it's bad. Period. 5 is 50%. It's bad. And in the eye of many people, a 5 would be bad. So I cannot slide my scale down so that most games are 5s and 6s. No, and indeed most games for me are 7s and sometimes 6s in that regard. And if that bothers you, I don't know what to tell you about it. First of all, I always tell people, if I dislike most of the games I play, then I'm in the wrong business. I should like most of the games I play. Secondly, the really, really trashy games, I don't play all of them. I don't go to Toys R Us and buy every single game. If I did, my whole ratings would be down. But thirdly, again, there's the negative perception people have of numbers. And at the end of the day, when it comes to those low numbers, if I give a game a 2 or I give a game a 4, doesn't matter. You're going to assume Tom hates that game, and you would be probably correct. Is there more nuance between a 7 and a 10? To me, there is. 7s are good games. 7.5s are better than that. 8s are even better. You're like, Tom, that's not helpful to me. I get it, and that's why I put the numbers out there, because you can look at the number and be a little bit more quantifying. And numbers I often use as comparisons with each other. The 8 game and the 7 game, I like the 8 game better. That's it. The 8.5 game and the 8 game, I like the 8.5 better. And so I compare them numerically that way. And the numbers change. If you watch my look back videos that I do every Wednesday, where I take a look at reviews I did a long time ago, you'll see how that stuff changes from year to year, 5 years, 10 years. So people say numbers don't mean anything. I think that's partially true, but at the same time, they do mean something. People say a scale all you need to do is I love it, like it, don't like it. That's all you need. That's fine. For me, the 15 or 16 point scale works really well, and I'm going to continue to do it on my channel.
Hey guys, it's Nick back for Mental Health Minute, and I want to talk about collecting games. We all collect games to a certain extent, whether we have 5, 10, 15, 500. We all collect games at a certain level. Some different than others, but it's there. I go on the smaller side, but what about particular games themselves? For example, Marvel Legendary, I have every single thing for Marvel Legendary that will ever exist. And if it's coming out and I don't have it yet, you bet I'm going to go get it. I'm not going to have time to play with all those parts and combine them and resurface them. I'm not going to have it. I'm just not going to do it. Especially when I have a bunch of other games to play. So why bring it all in? It's a completionist mindset. And it's often seen from some people as obsessive. And obsessive is often overused and not the right word to establish here. I've met with clients a lot of the times who use the word obsessive and they use it incorrectly. Obsessive indicates that there's no valid reason to be doing what you're doing. It's just something you enjoy doing. And sometimes that's enough. We don't need to push for a further understanding of that knowledge all the time. It's just not necessary. Do you do it? Yes. Do you like that you do it? Yes. It's not a problem. Is it affecting other things in your life? Do you not like that it's happening? Do we have an issue with doing it way too much and spending money we don't have? Different problem. They're separate things. And if you can really figure out what the reason is, you'll be a lot better off. For example, if you're on the reason of too much spending, creating a problem, you may need to rethink how much you invest. But if you're over here and you're just having fun and you like checking that off the checklist, well, then enjoy it.
Brenner Keys is a very famous designer. He's created a lot of games, created mechanisms, put a little twist on mechanisms, stuff like that. The The term kinesia scoring I've heard used two different ways. One, just kind of a weird, obtuse kind of scoring. Something that's kind of oddball would be kinesia scoring. Traditionally, though, kinesia scoring is often referred to how scoring occurs in the game Tigris and Euphrates. So in Tigris and Euphrates, you are battling for control over a board, and you're collecting these different colored cubes. At the end of the game, based off of how many cubes of each color, is going to be your final score. In the game, there are 4 different colors, and you are essentially collecting sets of them. Another way to see it is whatever your final score is the amount of the color you have the least. So if you have 3 blue, 3 red, 3 black, and 2 green, your final score is 2. You could also say whoever has the most sets of all colors. Those are kind of 2 different ways to put it. End game scoring is when in a game you're going to collect points at the end of the game. So usually it's for maybe some objective cards that you have, goal cards that you have. Sometimes you only score based off of what your positioning is in the game on the board, and that is the position that you're at, and that is your final score. So those are kind of the different ways that end game scoring works. That's it.
And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to enter our contest. Check the very beginning of the episode to win a copy of Control. And like I said, come back on Wednesday and watch us play it. All right, we got lots of reviews from our contributors and stuff going up this week. I'm planning on doing a pile of reviews over here. It's going to be a good time. Folks, stay safe, stay healthy, have a good time, play with your families, play online with other people. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.